Tell us about the decision to come back.
I think it was one I probably struggled like less with than the year prior. Just as far as how the season went as a team, as a defense, and then individually, how I feel physically, and how much drive I still have left with the game, with preparation, with playing on game day, being part of a team. So it was, there was some thought, a bunch of different ways, but it was I'd say a little. I kind of had a feeling when the season ended. I was like, it's probably not the last time we'll put on pads. You never know, but yeah, it wasn't much more than. Do I feel good enough to play? Do I think I can contribute at a high level? Does the team still want me? Is it still fun? Like, is there obviously for me, and not just me, but for the organization, like, what are we chasing? How realistic is that? And so those were all things I thought I came to an answer pretty quick on.
Did you even have that sense in the locker room right after the playoff loss?
I'd say, yeah. It's kind of hard. You're kind of not thinking super clearly in those moments, especially knowing like that, the 2024 team, you're never gonna get that group of guys together again, no matter how many stick around for a following year. Or there's some guys that you're super close with, like you might never see again. That's just how it goes. So those are. I didn't want to kind of take away from that at the time and just kind of not enjoy, because it wasn't enjoyable, but have some level of appreciation for that.
Just what did it mean to you to see Cam, knowing that you had been around for his entire development, get the contract that he did with Indianapolis?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's obviously I hate not being able to play with Cam again, but those, I mean, ultimately guys are trying to make money for their families, the rest of their lives, whatever, and those are great things. Like, if I could help him in any way to get to that spot, like, I'm super pumped about it. I think he would have gotten to that point no matter where he went. He's that type of player, that type of person. He's a great addition for Indianapolis, and obviously a big hole that we have to fill in a lot more ways than just playmaking ability. Just his presence and what he means being in a room is a big deal. So we'll obviously have our work cut out for us there, but I think we got some good options, and I'll definitely miss Cam, though, for sure. He's a pleasure to be around, for sure.
You on the hook for more celebration planning now that he's gone?
Yeah, I don't think I'm the guy for that. I think there were some rumblings of who's going to take the role. Obviously, you got Metellus still involved, but there'll be some names that come to the surface. I'm sure it's not going to be me.
Speaking of those options, what have you seen from Theo Jackson kind of behind the scenes over the last few years, and then when he has gotten chances on the field?
He's always making plays. Like, from the day he got here, like literally from the day he got here, as I was like, how did the Titans let him go? And that's not like to knock the Titans, whatever. He's a good player, and sometimes the numbers just don't work out. Sometimes guys need to get cut to play better. I'm not saying that's this instance, but everything I've seen from Theo is he's got a lot of ability. He's smart. He knows how to be a pro, which I think is it's very important. Just like the length of a season, the duration, all the different roles you can play, and he's like, whatever role he's plugged into, special teams, or if it's starting role on defense, or a few plays here and there on defense. Like, he comes in, he does his job at a high level, he makes plays, he's energetic. Yeah, he's big time in my opinion.
What did you think of all the additions they made in free agency, knowing some guys you didn't want to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the additions, I guess, for me, just speaking on defense, defensive additions, obviously, on paper, it looks pretty outstanding. So that's like another thing when I'm thinking about if I want to play, like, it's pretty good to have a bunch of guys up front that cause problems. It makes it a lot easier on the back end, and you're always going to lose guys and gain guys, but I think from what it looks like, we've done ourselves some favors and have a chance here.
Harrison, Kevin's talked about you being back a lot. I was wondering, when you watch what they've built here in 3 years, like what stands out to you most about what they've been able to do in 3 years, kind of establishing this culture the way it is?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a big question. But I would say, I mean, obviously starting with KO, coming in and like you said, establishing a culture of winning and doing it in a tactful way and always trying to find an edge in whatever department, not just scheme, but how you go about the day-to-day operations, how you build the chemistry of a team to start with. And then how can we, like you said, like there is a foundation that's been set that I think you can notice it. Like things operate pretty smoothly and people are here given high level effort and winning a lot of ball games, but like there's another level that we need to get to. And in this business, like you have to do it right now. It's not like, oh, this is, year one was good. Let's just keep grinding. Like, it's got to happen right now. So I think moving forward, the emphasis of like, let's turn it up a little bit to a level we haven't been before that is necessary to get where we want to go is very important.
Harrison, as you're getting into year 14, do you share more of that with younger guys just because you've done it longer than just about anybody else here, and certainly more than most players in the NFL ever will?
Yeah, and it's like, I think I don't like to be the guy that's always like, hey, let me tell you about this because I've been here forever and I'm gonna educate you on I don't want to be that guy, but there is some obvious things you get with time and some level of wisdom. I don't know how much I have, but some just from seeing how things work and being on teams that are good, being on teams that have legitimately good enough to have a chance or teams that aren't, and then seeing other teams and how they do it. And the ones that have been always kind of ready to strike. There's obviously something that exists within those organizations. So yeah, I haven't won a Super Bowl. So like, do I have the credibility to speak on that? Like, I know how to win, that's for sure. So I think there's a balance as a guy in my position of like, whether it's advice or whatever. But I'm always trying to figure out a better way to do stuff. I don't have all the answers, but I have a couple.
There's one of any impressions that J.J. McCarthy make on you last year?
In what regard?
Well, I mean, mostly off the field. Because we
Yeah.
have a ton on the field.
Yeah, he's a guy that I enjoy being around a lot. He's his own person. He's kind of speaks his mind, has his own way of thinking about things. He's very smart, very invested in football and winning and competing. And then football-wise, he's tremendously talented. He was doing a lot of good things in training camp last year, in my opinion, as a guy going against him. But just being around him, obviously it's a tough position to be a high pick and things look like they're going well and the season's gone. So that's a whole different struggle or whatever it is to overcome those things and be ready for the following year and be ready to go. But he's, I've been fortunate to spend some time with him. Got to play some golf with him in Mexico. We had a good time. Hit some great shots. But I enjoy my time with him. He's an interesting fellow, and I think he's a little smarter beyond his years.
Harrison, I think it was 2 years ago you described it as you can't buy a spot out here. How much does that singularity of this experience in the NFL weigh on you when you decide if you want to keep playing?
I'd say that's just something I just think that's a cool aspect of it. I don't think I would say I weighed that as much this year just because it was easier for me to decide I wanted to give it another go. But that is something when it's a day, no matter what the job is, if every day you don't wake up feeling sweet and ready to go do your job. But when those days hit, I try to think about something like that. Where else would I rather be? How fortunate am I to be able to do this? And you can't buy it. You can't, no matter how much money you got, you can't. I don't know. I guess maybe you could try, but it probably wouldn't end that well. So that is it's a cool aspect of it. Yeah.
When you talk about getting to that next level, not just sitting here, the urgency of that, is it clear to you how this team can get there?
No. Philosophically in those bigger items, yeah, but no, that's why KO's running the show. I'm asking Flo what to do, and no, KO he'll set the plan out, and we will follow it.
What was your assignment just when Byron Murphy decided or that happened where he sacked? Just what did you think of that? What did that mean?
Yeah, Murph is he's another guy he's easy to play with. He's a playmaker in big moments. He can do a lot of things. He's smart. And then obviously from a personal side, seeing a guy that you go play with and play for and whatever, sign a big deal. That's awesome. And the fact that it's back here, that's even better. So yeah. That's and he's a huge piece for us. He's a phenomenal player, and I think that's reflected in how all that unfolded.
Harrison, after playing against Aaron Jones for a handful of years, what was it like having him in this locker room? And in your eyes, what makes him a special person and player?
Yeah, it's always interesting when you get to kind of meet and spend more time with guys you've played against for a long time, and his locker's kind of right by mine. So we're always interacting here and there. But the thing you always hear about Aaron beyond the football is how great of a dude he is, and it's absolutely true. And that's something our locker room, just guys that come in, they talk about it. There's a lot of good people in this organization and guys who do it the right way and want to. And that doesn't mean a bunch of nice guys. It means guys who come in and put in work and do it to win, and elevate others around them. It's not like a kumbaya session, which I think gets confused sometimes. But Aaron is, I think he's advertised as he's obviously a great player. I know from experience, but advertised as a great guy, and he absolutely lives up to it for sure.
A couple more for Harry.
We heard a little bit about your conversation with KOC, telling him he'd be back, but what was the conversation like with Flores and just getting to do another season with him?
Yeah, I'd say I called KO just to let him know. I don't know, Flo probably knew. He's pretty good at convincing me. So he was already, when I came back, he was already well, maybe what about 15 years next? And I'm all right, relax. But no, he's playing for Flo it's a blast, and it's very demanding, and it's physically and mentally. But the way that that was another thing that kind of made it easier to come back is the day-to-day, especially with flow and how we do things is just like super productive and thoughtful, and as far as like how we're attacking. And that's the stuff that I enjoy. So it's like easy to come in here and sit in the meetings and go over that stuff, and then the physical stuff will always be fun. So I do enjoy that quite a bit. So and Flo's pretty. Yeah, I mean I don't even know how that conversation went, but I think he kind of knew I would come back.
What about a 15th year? Which is how crazy it's 14 years.
I'm not focused on anything but today and 14. We got a lot to do this year, so that's all I care about.
Does it help to have the continuity, because it's not just B-Flow, but also Dvonte Jones, who you work closely with too? I mean, how much does that help knowing exactly what you're getting coming back?
Oh, it's huge, especially as you become a grumpy old vet. Like, you just have less patience for certain things, and not even in a bad way. It's just like, what are we doing today, and how is that going to help us win? And how is that going to make my job like more clear cut? And the group that we have, we talked about Flo, but like Durante, and I've had experience with Durante in 2020 under a different staff, and then the past couple of years together, it's like, I mean, the working relationship we have a good personal relationship, and the working relationship is like, it's so, I don't want to say easy, because like this is it's a hard industry, but it's very clear, it's very productive, kind of similar sentiments, and you want like if I mess up a play that's like a game-changing play that you might not even notice, but I know I could have made it, and maybe it's not even like it's an incomplete pass or something, but it could have been a pick or something. Those things are the stuff where I'm like, man, like I needed to make that for DJ, because like he set me up for that. I can't miss that layup, and I think those are easy to come across when you have that good relationship and you can already like speak the same language. I can coach myself like I'm him while I'm on the field during a series, instead of having to come to the sideline. I already know how he's going to tell me to play it, because he does such a good job preparing us to start with. So that stuff goes a long way.
If you were to come back, what do you think you'd be doing this year?
It's a good question. I tend to get a lot of hobbies in the off season, like trying to figure out like, what am I going to do when this is all done? I got some little kids, so I'd spend a lot of time with them. I'd probably golf a little more. I probably wouldn't try to find my next career quite yet, if something organically happened maybe, but I wouldn't be in a rush to determine the rest of my life as far as like from a working standpoint. When I'm done, like, yeah, I've made my fair share of money, whatever, but I'll want to do something. It's just in my nature.
Are you a sports writer?
I don't know the grammar for that, the punctuation, I don't think, but maybe you guys could help me out one day.
Thanks, everybody. Nobody else cares about it anymore.